Gather round, kids. It's story time. Hey, everyone. I'm K2 Knockout, and boy, do I have a story for you. I had a pretty memorable week last week. To start off, a little bit of backstory. My mother and I, twice a year, take a trip down to Universal Studios and Disney. So we were taking our second trip of the year. We went to Universal, and everything was normal. King Kong is pretty cool if you haven't seen it yet, and you've got to go see the Harry Potter world if you haven't done that. But then on Monday, we checked out of our hotel at Universal and went to our hotel at the Boardwalk Resort for Disney. We went to the parks, and when we came back, I told my mother, we have to go to Jelly Rolls, which is a dueling piano bar. It's a lot of fun. The guys are great. You're going to really enjoy it. You're going to love it. So we went, and we enjoyed ourselves, and I quit a little early and went back to the hotel so that I could upload the video about Prometheus being unbanned. And as the upload progress bar was moving, the phone rang in the hotel room. And they said, you have to come to the back entrance of the boardwalk. Your mother fell. And she's fallen twice before and broke a leg each time. So it was a pretty serious phone call to hear that she fell. So I ran out there to see what had happened, and she had blood on her face, and somebody was holding her arm up, and she had broken her shoulder. And so we spent the entire morning of Tuesday in the hospital. It was not a very enjoyable experience. It was pretty miserable on all accounts. But finally she had some medicine. They immobilized her arm so that her shoulder wouldn't hurt as much and would begin to heal. And we went back to the hotel, not really knowing what the rest of the vacation was going to be. She insisted that I go to the park because she planned all of these really cool things for the two of us to do, and that I really shouldn't miss them because some of them were actually pretty great. So I went to the park by myself and didn't enjoy myself as much as I would have. I still had fun. I still enjoyed myself. I mean, it's Disney. It's a food and wine festival. It's great. But I didn't enjoy myself as much. There are little inside jokes that my mother and I tell to each other whenever we go to certain parts, and I was always thinking of those jokes without anybody to tell them to, so it wasn't nearly as enjoyable as it normally would be. And then that day, I get a phone call from my girlfriend, who is a teacher, saying that all of the schools are closed in South Carolina because of the hurricane, and that she has the entire week off because all of the schools are closed. And so I asked her if she would want to come down to Florida to go to Disney with me and sort of take my mother's place. I asked my mother if it was okay. She said yeah. And I asked her if she wanted to come down, and she said yeah. So she came on down and took my mother's place, and I got to enjoy the parks with my girlfriend, which was fantastic. And then on the 5th, we were at the Magic Kingdom, and there are these people that work for Disney that are stationed all around the parks that are called PhotoPass. And you walk over to them, you ask them to take their picture. They're professional photographers, and they take your picture. And one of them is set up right in front of Cinderella's castle, the big iconic Disney castle. So we went to the guy in front of the castle and asked him to take our picture. And while he was taking our pictures, I turned to Tasha and I said, now I know this isn't perfect, but I'm tired of waiting. And I got down onto a knee and I asked her to marry me. It was a pretty crazy experience. She said yes, by the way. So, unbeknownst to Tasha, my now fiance, that day, after we had gone to one park and we were getting ready to go to Magic Kingdom, she wanted to take a nap. So while she was asleep, I went downstairs in our hotel to a Disney artwork and jewelry shop. And I bought the engagement ring there. I picked out the ring and I picked out the setting that goes into it. And they put it together for me, gave me a box, and our hotel room just happened to be directly above that shop, one floor above. So I bought this ring probably 10 feet away from my sleeping fiance. So after a pretty amazing night there, we spent the rest of the day, we spent the rest of the vacation with these buttons that say, just engaged, and everybody was saying, hey, congratulations, congratulations. Of course, there was still the issue of the hurricane that was coming. And the day before the hurricane hit, they said that they were closing all of the parks and that everybody that was in a resort had to stay in the resort. So we couldn't actually leave and go to the park. We were stuck in the Boardwalk Resort. We knew that this was going to happen, so the day before we went and we loaded up on some food because Boardwalk's right next to Epcot where the big food and wine festival is. So we grabbed a whole bunch of food from there, brought it back so that we were stocked up and we were ready to ride out the storm, however bad it may be. And while Matthew did do a bunch of damage in some areas, it basically missed Orlando entirely. Like, we got some rain and some wind, but there was no damage. Like, we were getting calls constantly all throughout the day of two kinds. One, congratulations on getting engaged. And two, oh my God, are you okay? We heard the hurricane's terrible. And which is ridiculous because there were times where it wasn't even raining. And we're getting inundated with all of these calls of concern and hoping that we're still alive and that no tree is falling on us. And we were perfectly fine. We were enjoying ourselves. In fact, Disney even sent in the guys in the costumes to come dance around and entertain all of the folks in the lobby of the hotel. They set up some buffets, and they even opened up downtown Disney Springs, towards the end of the night so that everybody could go enjoy the restaurants and stuff that were down there. So the hurricane was kind of a non-event. We didn't lose power. Nothing was damaged. And our patio at our hotel room was even covered. So we didn't even get rain on our patio. We sat out on the porch for some of it. So it turned out that even the hurricane was actually pretty enjoyable. And on the way back home, we didn't even have to deal with the hurricane then because all of the traffic on the way home was going the other direction from people that were coming back from being evacuated. And by the time we had left, all of the highways were open, all of the interstates had reopened, all of the debris had been cleared, all of the trees that had fallen over had been cleared out, all of the power was back on. So the hurricane turned out to be a total non-event. We got to sit it out. And instead of a normal day at the park, we had entertainment at the lobby. We have Chip and Dale that were playing Jenga, and I'm going to be uploading a video of that, by the way, a little bit later on this week. It's awesome. It's the most intense game of Jenga I've ever seen in my entire life. So we got to hang out with Chip and Dale and Goofy and all kinds of cool stuff. It was the most memorable vacation I've ever had, and none of it was planned. None of it was planned. I never had the idea to propose to her at Disney. I had always been planning to propose. I just had a couple different ideas of how to do it. None of them were as good as this. I never had the idea to propose to her at Disney. I didn't plan on that when I invited her down. I didn't plan on it while she was on her way. It was something that I noticed that I had the opportunity, and that I don't think that even with as creative as I am and as clever as I am, I don't think that I can top having a photographer present and proposing in front of Cinderella's castle at midnight. I don't think I can do better than that. She loves it. She thinks it's perfect. She's super happy, and I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't. I'm really, really happy that it all worked out the way it did, and that it was completely unplanned. It's phenomenal. My mother is being able to move around. Her shoulder's getting better. It's still not healed. It's going to take time to heal, but she's able to move around and enjoy herself. And she did manage to enjoy herself while we were at the resort. We happened to have a room that was within range of 3 different Pokestops. And my mother plays Pokemon Go, so she got to enjoy Pokemon Go, and people were throwing lures up on the 3 Pokestops that she was at, so she was catching all kinds of cool stuff. She leveled up like 12 levels, I think. It was either 12 or 15 levels. It's ridiculous. She's level 22 now, and I think we went in there, she was like level 8. or I'm not sure which one, but she had a ton of Pokemon Go playing in there. And after a day or two, she was able to walk around and enjoy the resort. And she walked to some of the other resorts and ate there and had a good time. So she enjoyed herself despite having a pretty serious injury. So that worked out. So much worked out while so much went wrong. And now I have an engagement story that I couldn't make better. I can't improve that story somehow. And yet, there is a tiny detail, a little thing to add on to the end of this that's pretty incredible. So Tasha was looking at the ring that I bought. And I bought the ring itself, and I had to choose the setup of the ring, the size, and the setting that goes into it. And the setting has an item number written on the bottom of it that I had no idea even existed. I didn't know that it was there. But she was looking at the ring the other day, and she noticed that the item number was there. And it's a 2-digit item number that is unique to the exact setting that I picked out. And that item number, I kid you not, is K2. Now, I don't believe in fate or destiny or any of that nonsense, but with a story like that, I'm having trouble coming up with a counter-argument. Like and favorite the video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and share me with your friends and tell them to come be nerdy with me. And until then, thanks for watching.